Hello everyone, and welcome back to this mini-series on some of the most asked questions that have come through our office. My name is Nicholas Buffo, and I'm a recent graduate from the Weldon School of Biomedical Engineering, and will be attending medical school. I'm a senior peer counselor here in our office, Future Engineers, and I want to thank you for joining us for this podcast. Let's get into the second question. What is a first-year engineering pathway? So throughout this podcast, just for a disclaimer, I'm going to be referring to first-year engineering as FYE. It'll help me cut down on some of those words as I'm going through this whole script. So, first-year engineering, as many of you may have already seen or may have heard from our actual podcast before where we interviewed a professor in our first-year engineering program, FYE students will not designate a major of interest. Instead, they will take a first-year curriculum that will help to expose them some of the problem-solving and critical thinking skills they need to be an engineer before they have to make that decision on what engineering major they want to go into. Now, this may seem like a common or generic program that's going to churn out the exact same engineer, but what I will tell you is through these options, both with learning communities and now with these pathways, it makes it just anything but that. It's a way for you to customize and make this experience your own. So, learning communities that were covered in this last podcast will be covered and talked about as in concurrent to these pathways. And we'll mention that some of these have overlaps between the pathways and some will be determined when you determine your learning community, but others have some flexibility that you can work with learning communities and pathways. So there are 5 options for pathways that students can choose. And the first route is called the Ideas to Innovation route, or the main pathway. This is the most standard route for students to go through, and this is where the majority of students will actually find themselves within. But yet, it is anything but standard. Students in this will learn both Excel and MATLAB, and will have opportunities to work on projects that are real-world projects that were designed with their professors, and they take typically a theme in mind to design these projects throughout the entire semester. One of ours that was during my freshman year was a campus safety project. Now, there were 2 projects that really stand out to me within this pathway. And again, all students that are going to be in this pathway will work on similar projects to other students working in this pathway. So the campus safety project, actually, as you see with some of our crosswalks around campus, how they're all 6-way stops. If you've ever visited the Purdue campus and you see these crosswalks, it may have been weird to you at first, but yes, our intersections actually shut down in all directions to allow the most efficient and safe means of getting people across the street. This actually came out of our first year engineering coursework, and in this I2I route a couple of years ago, students actually found and designed these new safety measures to reduce the amount of accidents as well as the efficiency of students crossing the street. So again, as I said, I2I is not something that's standard, not something that's uncommon. There will see some uncommon things within it. My project, actually within the global engineering learning community, as I mentioned, actually worked with a school in Kenya, and we designed a water and solar conservation sensor for the students to use to monitor their use of both of these commodities. Now, 2 other pathways that kind of go hand in hand with each other because they follow a very similar coursework is the EPICS and VIP pathway. These were covered within our last learning community because yes, they are a learning community that have a live-in component, but also are an option for students to take when they are registering for their courses. EPICS and VIP have their own course, Engineering 133, that will help to teach them a lot of the same skills that will be covered within the I2I pathway. Now, these students will be working on projects with community partners, whether that's a community service organization or an NGO, or some of the larger corporations that have actually tasked our teams up with helping to solve some of their problems. VIP, again, will be working on projects that use cutting-edge research with professors and other students as well as graduate students that they will be working with. Both of these will take their own class, again, as I mentioned, Engineering 133, and will continue to work on their projects throughout both semesters. We also have another pathway. This is our 4th pathway, our honors pathway. Now, you must have been admitted to the honors college to take part in the engineering honors pathway, but it's a great option. And for these students that are admitted to the honors class, they're actually going to learn an additional programming language, Python, in addition to MATLAB. They're going to have a robotics focus. A lot of their projects are going to focus on different robotic techniques, as well as within this honors pathway, they will actually cover the first year engineering physics component, Physics 172. So students will not take that additional course. It'll be wrapped up within their honors engineering classwork, Engineering 161 and 162. Again, you must be admitted to the Honors College. So if this is an interest of yours, you must apply to the Honors College by that November 1st deadline. Now, the last and 5th option is our 1-semester option, in which students could take the course Engineering 130, which will actually combine down both semesters of that I2I down to one semester. So you're only going to take it during that fall semester. And typically these are students that already have some AP or transfer credits coming in that are ready to finish first year engineering a little bit early. Now, one disclaimer to this one semester pathway is that not all majors are going to be open for the winter time for you to transition to your major. Typically T2M, as it will be covered in the next episode, is going to happen in the spring. That's where typically a lot of students will go through. However, there is an option for students to start it in the winter, but again, a majority of the programs will not be open to the winter T2M. So if this is an interest of yours, please make sure to speak with your advisor when you're incoming and registering for courses and choosing which pathway you want to go into. Again, for you to learn more about these pathways, you can check them out online by simply Googling Purdue FYE pathways or Purdue first year engineering pathways. Again, if you have questions, you can also speak with your first year engineering advisor when you're an admitted student and ready to begin registering for your classes. I hope this helped you start to learn a little bit more of these frequently asked questions and answer some of those burning questions that you had in your mind. Thank you again for tuning in, and we will see you next time.